Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel eddieinreadingland. My name is Eddie and today I'm bringing you a tag. It's called the hashtag Hungry Eyes for Tarot by Amethyst Ascension Tarot and Astrology. Oh gods. Guys, I am really excited to do this tag because I do have hungry eyes for certain tarot. Actually, 4 tarot. We're gonna see 4 tarot, and I know that I can get 3 of them. And one other one is the one that it's my my wish deck, and it's gonna be really difficult for me to get. I know that, but as in any case, let's get started. I'm very thankful that I got the opportunity to do this and that somebody came up with this because this is just so much fun, especially because you're gonna see me thirst for a bunch of decks that I really want. So here's the first one. I believe my husband is going to add some images over here on this side, and I have my notes over here with me, as you guys know that I always have my notes, but so that we know, or I know what image I'm talking about. And this first image is from the Cloth Doll Tarot by Star Wheel. So for some reason, I thought that this tarot was by New Round, and I actually like their decks a lot, and this is no exception. I have 2 other of their decks, but well, I should say that this is the first deck that I've had from Star Wheel. I love this. As you guys can see, this is the box. This side. This is the box, and I very much love this already. This reminds me of Coraline, and Coraline is my favorite middle grade book. And I know that it's by Neil Gaiman. He's a bit of a sour topic among the publishing community and the showbiz community, but he did write an excellent book, and Coraline is an excellent book. But as you guys can see through the box, the characters on this tarot have buttons as eyes. And I very much like that. It's very whimsical, it's very cute, but it's also very creepy. And I really just am completely enthralled by that. It does really remind me of Coraline. And I know that I can definitely see these beings being part of the world of Coraline. So in the next slide over here, we're going to see that the deck actually has some gilding on it, which I don't particularly like. It's not like I don't like the shiny, guys. You know I do, but it's just that my one complaint with gilding is that it's going to chip off, and it doesn't matter how you shuffle your deck, it's just going to chip off. And I like to care for my decks a lot, and I keep them in the best condition that I'm able to. And one of the things that I dislike about gilding is that, but I love the orange. I mean, it's beautiful. And on the next image, we are going to see some sample of the pips. And as you guys can see here, you will see, if you have watched Coraline or if you ever read the book Coraline, you can see that there's that creepy atmospheric feel to the tarot and to the images that I just love. And on the next slide, we're going to see the deck fanned. And as you can see, the backs of the card, as you can see, there's a lot of images in there, but there's more for you guys to see. I have actually not seen all of the cards on this deck. Usually when I want a tarot, I usually see a full walkthrough to see if I actually vibe with all of the cards, but I know that with this one I don't have to because I can already see that I'm vibing so well with it. But in any case, on this next slide, next image slide, I'm not Debbie Jelinski from the Addams Family. God, it's an amazing movie. But as in any case, here's a sample of the guidebook. I believe that we are right now seeing the Magician as an example of the guidebook. As you guys can see, it does talk a little about the art, but not a lot. And if you were to start using this cloth tarot as your first tarot, one of your first tarot to explore, I believe that you would definitely, I know that you would definitely need a companion book to start reading with the cards, because the meanings and the on the guidebook. They're very quite basic, and they're very normal. So it's good to get you started, but not very good if you want to really dive deep into what tarot is. But anyway, I'm not mad at this at all. I expect it, and I actually do like when artists write books about the art and why they chose certain things for the art. I'm not really sure that I'm gonna get that with this guidebook, but it's okay because I really love the images. On the next slide, we're gonna see the full majors. Love all of these. Clearly, I mean, I want this deck so bad. And I say this, and I know that for certainty that this is the next deck that I will get when I have the ability, probably for Christmas, I want to say. Maybe earlier, who knows? But yeah, so here on the next 4 images, we're going to see more examples of the pips. Here we have the first one, it's the 6 of Wands. And as you guys can see, it's very Rider-Waite-Smith. There's very little deviation from the Rider-Waite-Smith system. So I mean, I'm going to be able to fully read with this tarot immediately. The other reason, and just going on to the next one, we have here the 9 of Cups. I was going to say that the only reason why I will get this deck, well, not only because I'm very drawn to the art, is because I'm also doing some inner child work right now, and I'm probably going to keep doing that until the end of the year. And this just seems to be working for that. This deck is calling me to work for my inner child, and I'm having some revelations, guys, with the inner child work. But on the next slide, we're going to see the 7 of Swords. And it struck me as unusual that what is oh no, it's on the next slide. I'm sorry. So this is the 7 of Swords. The image is unusual for a 7 of Swords, but I still like it. I can still read what the 7 of Swords is going to say. But for the other one, what's unusual about the 9 of Discs here is that you see the image of this doll being blinded, and never thought of the 9 of Discs in that way. Usually we're contemplating a more a more realistic sort of feel for the 9 of Discs, and I equate the 9 of Discs with security, safety, and independence, and just enjoying what you have. That feeling of enjoyment that you have. That's why we generally see that woman standing in the garden with the falcon, right? But I never think about the fact that this person may be blinded to what they have. So that's a very shadow or darker side of the 9 of Discs here. But as in any case, I really, really love this image. Not complaining at all about it. But there you go, guys. That's the Cloth Doll Tarot by Star Wheel. And then we're going to move on to the second tarot. And that is the Tarot Renard by Celia Melesville. And as you can see here on the first image of the box, this is the same person who did the Boo Tarot, which I own. And these foxes are just so cute, and I really, really like them. I had such a successful reading experience, and actually reading with others as well with the Boo Tarot. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have the same experience with this one. But moving on to the next slide, we're going to see the back of the cards, and I just love the orange and the silhouette that she has chosen for this back. It's amazing. Now, on the next slide, you're going to see the open box. Unfortunately, I think that the Celia also is using the same cardstock as she used for the Boo Tarot. And what's very unusual about that cardstock is that even though it's thick and it's really durable, it does warp a lot, and I don't understand why. And I'm pretty sure that she used the same cardstock for the Tarot Renard than she did for the Boo Tarot. Again, not deterrent for me because, again, it's very durable, but it does warp quite weird, and I don't know why. But and on the next image, you're gonna see that we do have some extra cards with keywords for the cards. Again, something very basic. If you wanna learn more about tarot, and this is one of your first tarot, you're probably gonna get another book that will aid you for this. And usually, what I recommend is Tarot 101 or 88 Degrees of Wisdom as well. I'm gonna have those books linked below just in case you guys want to see them. and want to take a look at them. But they're very well known in the community, so I'm pretty sure that most of you know them and have them on your bookshelves. But okay, so on the next image over here, you're gonna see the strength card and the hermit. Love the strength card. You guys know that the strength card is one of my favorite cards, and this hermit just looks so cozy and warm. I really like it. On the next image here, we're gonna have the Wheel of Fortune and Justice, and I think that you guys already know what I'm gonna say about the Justice card. I would love if the scales were a lot bigger than what they are right now in the image, but that is just my one complaint about the Justice card always. And on the next slide or image, I'm just gonna say slide from now on because I like slides. We are going to see a sample of the wands. As you guys can see, it's the same. It seems to be the same character in different scenes and in different sort of situations. The same for the cups over here on the next slide. But as you guys can also see by these, it is also very Rider-Waite Smith, so I know that I'm going to be able to read with this with no problem. And like I said, I just had such a wonderful experience with the Boot Tarot. I just could not believe that I wouldn't with this one. And on the next slide over here, we're going to see the swords. And as you guys know, the swords is my favorite suit. And I really like the fact the interactions here on the sword suits. I like it when we have a sword suit that it's not very menacing. Because it's usually so menacing when I see the sword suit, and with good reason. I understand that, but I just love the fact that these cute foxes made it such a kinder suit. And I just, guys, I just love canines and foxes and all kinds of canines. I don't really care. On this next slide, you're gonna see here the pentacles. But it is really hard for me to find or to have found a dog tarot that I like. Usually they're not, I don't really like the art, but for this fox tarot, I really, really do like it. And if you guys didn't know, Tarot Renard means the fox tarot. It's just in French. And I mean, very appropriately named, of course. But as in any case, this was the Tarot Renard by Celia Mellesfield, and we'll go on to the next one. Now, this one is L'Oeil de l'Âme by Charlotte Mouy. Now, Charlotte Mouy is a Cantonese French artist, and this is the deck that I have on here that is quite an investment deck, even more than the previous one. The previous one is also from France. And it does cost a little bit more money to bring it from France to here. But this one, the tarot itself is quite the investment. I know that I'm going to have to save up to buy this tarot, and I know that I still have the opportunity to do so. But the reason why, and as you guys can see here on the box, by the way, I love that cerise cherry red color with the gold matte. Oh, just so beautiful. But I was going to say is that the images for this tarot are actually right now in a museum in France. The artist is quite a renowned artist in France. I follow her on Instagram, and well, actually, I also follow Celia on Instagram, but her art style is quite unique, and it's very different. And it evokes both emotion and beauty, even when there are parts in the anatomy that are lacking. You're going to see that a little later. But as in any case, as you guys can see here on the next slide, we're going to have the open box, and we're going to see that, thankfully, there are matte edges that are gold for this tarot. And I am very thankful for this because I know that this edge will not chip off like the gilding. So thank you, Charlotte, for being so conscientious of my needs, even though she doesn't know me at all. I would love to have one of her pieces, especially the Knight of Swords. You're gonna see it later on, but on this next slide over here, you're gonna see the Fool, and I have to admit that I do not like clowns and I don't like jesters. I don't vibe with that energy at all. But I do vibe with this fool over here. I'm not really sure why, but I think it's because it's showing such serene and happy vibes from this expression that they have on their face, and actually also from the surroundings. It's just such a cozy image that I'm actually not afraid of this clown at all. And I'm usually afraid of clowns, especially jesters. But I'm very grateful that I finally found a fool that is not intimidating when it's actually a clown or a jester. So very, very much like that. We're very, very, very thankful that this has happened, because I thought that I was never going to get a tarot where I was going to be content with a sort of this comedic clown jester being as the fool, and we often get that for the fool card. On the next slide, we're going to have the world, and I know that Charlotte Mui is not Japanese, like I said, she's Cantonese, but I believe that this is based, or at least inspired by Oni or Oni lore from Japan, or at least that's what it's giving me. At least it's giving me some sort of demon, and I just love the voluptuousness of this world card. And again, that color is just amazing. I love it. But I love how grand and expansive this world card looks. It seems to be very appropriate, and I very much enjoy this. I very much like this. As you guys can see from the past one and the past image in this one, the colors are quite pale, almost, and she has been using pastels as well. She tends to use pastels, but they're very pale tones of very rich colors. I'm not very sure if I'm explaining that well, but as you guys can see on the next image, we're going to have the strength card. And I would usually not like the strength card because there's a certain feeling that I like about the strength card that needs to be there for me. It's a very strong and vulnerable feeling. But with this card, I actually like the fact that they look like they're wrestling each other in a playful way. So again, this deck actually breaks one of my norms, because whenever I see a strength card that is playful versus strong or vulnerable, I tend not to like it. But this one, I very, very much like. I mean, look at the pigtails and look at that grin on the cat. It's just so... I mean, it's a tiger. I know it's a tiger. But it's so good. I really like it. So quite... thankful for the strength card to break my norm, because again, I thought it was never going to happen. But on the next slide over here, you're going to see a sample of the pips, and I believe these are the cups. And if you guys can see, it's quite monochromatic, and this black and white and gray scale that Charlotte has decided to use for the pips doesn't seem disconnected from the colorful majors and also the colorful core cards. They seem to belong to the same world, but there seems to be some sort of unique, some sort of distance, as if they live in other dimensions, even though they may be the same beings. Sort of like the layers of string theory, or something like string theory. But as in any case, I just love them. And on the next slide, you're actually going to see what I mean about the core cards. Here are the cups, and clearly we know that they're based on mermaids, but these are beautiful. Again, you're going to see here what I was talking about with color. There's a distancing from the majors. As you can see, this is also quite monochromatic. But it works. It doesn't feel like it's a different tarot. It doesn't feel like it's from a different tarot. They just incorporate well together. You guys are going to see that on the next slide with the pentacle cords. They seem to be inspired by satyrs, but also it's very prevalent here that you guys can see that they're missing parts of their limbs, which I find extremely fascinating because I did something similar with my tarot, the one that I drew and the one that I'm working on right now. But this seems as if these court cards have been cutting off pieces of the pain that they were feeling, and I'm probably projecting some sort of hurt or painful feeling. I'm not really sure if that's what I'm doing right now, but that's what it seems to me that it is. And as you guys can see over here with the swords on the next slide, and these are probably more angelic or demonic than anything else. And I usually don't vibe with this, but I really, really like this because it's a different, it's a, like I said, it seems to be a distance or a dissonance from what the creatures usually do. And I don't know if you guys know, but angels and demons are quite monstrous. Descriptions of some angels are just as monstrous as demons. So, but this seems to be a sort of in-between monster humanoid hybrid, and I really like that. And not to mention that I love this color. It's just so good. It's so not in your face, and it's calming, which is usually unusual for this. And on the last one, you're gonna see the Wands Court. As you guys can see, it's quite draconic, very reptilian. Also, very good feeling for the Wands. I can't complain. But as you guys can see as well, they're also missing some parts in their limbs. Overall, I just find this deck out of the box fascinating, intriguing. The art is very different from what I typically gravitate, even though this is very fantastical. It has its own aesthetic. It's actually colorful in some cards and not so colorful in the other ones. But yeah, this is quite a something different that I really don't have in my collection right now. And speaking about not having in my collection, the last tarot that I have for you guys is the Yokai Yochi Tarot by, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, it's buboplague. Now, as you guys can see here on the first one, this is the box. This is a yokai, a Japanese yokai inspired and, in my opinion, well rendered tarot deck. To the art style, this art style is called ukiyo-e. That's the art style that we mostly see Japanese yokai being drawn in. This was a style that sort of came in the Edo period in Japan. I know that my Japanophile Japan nerd is coming out right now, but I am just so fascinated, intrigued, puzzled, in a good way, by Japanese yokai. And this tarot just embodies everything that I like about the yokai. To the art style, as you guys can see on the next slide, unfortunately, we have that gilding that I don't like. And we seem not to have a guidebook for this tarot, which doesn't concern me because I know what what most of these yokai that are represented on the cards are. And if I don't know, I can just do a little digging, and I would find it really easy. And I wonder how popular this tarot was when it came out, because I know that tarot is no longer available, and I'm sure that the author of this tarot is not going to release this ever again, because it said so on the website. I checked, guys. I have checked for years, but it's quite intriguing that there would be no guidebook at least saying what the yokai is, for those of us who don't know what that yokai is and how it would relate to the card. But it's not a problem for me because, I mean, as you guys will see on the next, in not the next slide, because actually, let's talk about the next slide. The next slide, this is the Fool card in the deck. As you guys can see, it's a little ghost. Now, these ghosts in Japanese folklore are called bake, and they're the primordial basic ghost And it's just so appropriate that it's a full card. The first time that I saw it, I was like, of course, it's a bake. The full is a bake. It can't be anything else. It can't be another yokai, but the bake. Because it is the basic ghost. that's it's just so cool. And as you guys can see, on the art style, actually, if we go to the next slide, you're going to see more of the majors, and we're going to see from the High Priestess to the Hierophant. And as you guys can see, that art style, that squiggly line, that it's almost drawn as if they had, if they're suffering from tachycardia, that is the ukiyo-e art style that we usually see yokai rendered. I won't go into all of the yokai and all of the images because I will be here forever, and I'll talk about yokai forever too. But on this particular slide, I find it very intriguing that we have the Rokurokubi as the High Priestess, because they do tend to be in temples, and Shinto is such a big part of Japan as well. But the other thing that strikes me as very fascinating is that we have Kitsune as the Empress and the Emperor. It's again, it's very appropriate. It's very shadow side of the tarot, those choices. But again, I love it. And just so you guys know, the Hierophant, it's in Ogawa, which is basically a giant humanoid frog, who tend to be they tend to do like blessings, and they tend to be like spiritual beings, so it makes sense for the Hierophant. But yeah, if we move to the next slide, we're gonna see more of the majors, and I believe here we're seeing from Justice to Strength. And as you guys have noticed, buboplague did switch the Justice and the Strength card, which they called Fortitude, by the way, around, which is fine. It's not a deterrent for me to get a tarot. That's how Crowley does it, and it's not my preferred order for the majors, but again, not a deterrent at all. And I love this art style. And by the way, the Strength card being Raiju is very appropriate as well. Raiju are thunder, lightning beings, usually a combination of wolf, dog, and lion. Not really sure how to express them, but they are very strong beings, and they are very wild, and they are very like the Strength card. So I like that. I like that. On the next slide, we're going to see more majors, and very intrigued by the Death card, by the way. It's spirits contained in an urn. I like it. I like it. I want this tarot. This is my dream tarot, guys. This is my dream tarot. And then the next slide, you're going to see that we have staves instead of wands, but you're going to see more yokai here. And they are actually interacting with wands. And the same for the cups. And one of the things that I wanted to say about the cups suit over here is that we also see an influence of sumi-e paintings. Now, that's a different style of painting in Japan. There's a really popular art piece called The Great Wave from, I don't remember what was the city, but it's very popular, and you can see influence of that over here in that type of art painting. I'm sorry, that type of painting in art. Here we have the coins. What I like about the coins is how grotesque they look. It just seems so appropriate for the coins, and being the earth, it's sort of kind of like muddy, and I really like that. And lastly, we have the swords, and I like how scary they look. The yokai seem to be scarier than the other pips, so I really, really like that for the swords. And the swords is my favorite suits, guys, and I don't mind when the swords are scary. I just come to it accept it as the norm for the swords cards. But yeah, there you go, guys. Here are the 4 tarot that I am thirsting for. I am hoping that I get the chance to get the Yokai Yochi Tarot at some point. If any of you actually have the Yokai Yochi Tarot and would like to trade for the Tarot of Vampires, I actually have the Tarot of Vampires and it's in very good condition. I will be happy to do so. But yeah, it's the prices for that tarot are just astronomical. I mean, it's just I can't justify something like that at all, guys. But as in any case, thank you so much for being here. Love this tag so much. It was so much fun looking at the tarot that I want and sharing that with you guys. That the excitement and the reasons why I like these tarots and why I want them. But let me know in the comments below if you what are the tarots that you want that you don't have. I would like to know. But thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate your time being here with me. Bye bye, YouTube.